Hey, welcome to Navigating the Shift, Annabelle and Sarah today. Yay!
Woo!
Sarah's
Yes, I'm
back.
actually here. You get to see me, lovely. So the reason that I've been off camera for a bit is I got really sick. So my son, who was vaccinated, works in hospitals, got really sick months after his shots. At any rate, he came by here for something and I got sick too, really sick. I mean, 2 weeks of high fever, and then it's followed up with a ridiculous amount of body pain, to the point that I'm actually sitting in a rented hospital bed right now to help me move, get up and down. So I've been physically very limited. I do have a nice view of out the windows, and I've got some pretty
Your
paintings behind me. If
I remember those.
Yeah, remember those, a few paintings around. So at any rate, that's why I have not been on the camera. So you get to see me with my, greasy hair pulled back and whatever. It's just what I am in my bed.
We're just
But
delighted to see you, my dear.
I'm doing better. Which brings me to something I wanted to share with you guys. About 3-4 days ago, I was drifting out of a light sleep because a fly was buzzing around, occasionally landing on me and keeping me slightly awake. At any rate, I had a sleep mask on. It was daytime, and I was mostly awake. And I heard a noise, and I was like, "Oh, that's the dog moving around the room." And I went, "Oh, there's something else here. There's someone else here." And all of a sudden, in my mind's eye, behind my mask, I saw what looked like an angel in wispy clouds, but I sensed a presence there, and it was very familiar and loving. And I was like, "Oh, hello there." And it's like, the next thing I got was what looked like just coming at me, or coming from a center into a circle, different frequencies expanding out. And it wasn't like the colors were not something that you'd recognize with the physical eyes. It wasn't something like that, but I knew there were like layer after layer, and they were different frequencies and coming at me. And all of a sudden, my sense of self shifted. I would say away from like student to teacher. Woo. And I went on the ready, and I was like, "Oh, is it time?" And I knew that meant, is this event, is this what we're doing? Is this the shift? Am I ready to kick into teacher mode, for lack of better words, and start the next step? And the answer I got was no, but really soon.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have a feeling it'll be so big we won't need to ask the question.
Right. I'm like, "Oh, is it time?" No, not yet. But within about 12 hours, I had my body had healed. My knee was about twice its normal size, purple, and my left ankle was just huge, and all these purple bruises. I mean, everything was just like, didn't just hurt, it looked like it hurt. Gosh. And 12 hours later, I was like, "Oh, it's not purple anymore. Just a sort of a little bit of a gray." I don't need to put the camera on it for you to see. Just like really, really, really old bruise. And the swelling had gone down, and the pain was gone significantly, so that I'm able to walk around now. I'm like, "Oh, yay." So I think that the point of that was, well, the frequencies are already here. You can access them. Just ask, say, okay, we all have, and I also got in this vision a sense that there were a lot of other angelic beings up there around, whatever, here supporting for all of us. Mm-hmm. One of them, I think, was your higher self, Annabelle. Really beautiful and bright yellow and sparkly and energetic, and a big old smile. And I was like, "Oh, we're here too." I'm like, "Okay." So it wasn't a long vision, but it had a lot of effect. And I just wanted all to go, you have the frequencies are here where you can access them and just allow it. I mean, I didn't.
I'm sorry. I wonder if we fully embraced those frequencies, we would disappear to the people in the 3D world, though, right?
That could be. I mean,
You like that idea?
yeah, that wouldn't be so bad. I've had that happen before. I came back with a friend of mine. We went to a weekend long metaphysical high energy seminar, and we stopped for dinner at a little restaurant, just like one room and one waiter. I mean, it's a small restaurant, and there were, I think, one, two, three, four, 3 or 4 other tables that were seated. It was early. And the waiter walked by us right next to our table. You know, I could have reached out and touched him over and over and over again to go to the people on the table behind us. Didn't say a word, didn't bring his menus, nothing. Finally, I said, excuse me, as he walked by, and I put my hand out. And he almost dropped the tray he was carrying. He's like, ah, I didn't see you. I'm like, okay, now that you see us, can we order? So, you know, it was, you can already be invisible at a certain
it's
level.
not always helpful. Like it happens to me as well, but I'm like, sometimes it's quite nice. I mean, I would think as a kid, I quite liked the idea of being not sneaky, like not nasty, but you know, I would sit up, and I remember climbing a tree out the front of our place, and my dad started mowing the lawns, and I just decided not to tell him I was there, and I watched him go round and round and round, around the entire lawn, and he went away again, and he didn't know I was there, and yeah. So sometimes it's quite nice because then you can just be the observer, and nobody's going to ask you any questions or bother you.
Yeah, it's true.
But other times it is a bit annoying, you know, and you'll go, well, why didn't you say hello to me? You know me. You just walked right past me. Yeah.
Well, that brings us to kind of a major topic we want to discuss today, which is forgiveness and compassion. Because it's really needed right now. We need to forgive ourselves, forgive the world, forgive our loved ones, all of this stuff. And you, Annabelle, have had some experience recently where you got your buttons pushed a bit. So...
my buns got booted. Yeah, I'm no longer presenting on radio. So yeah, that's the way it goes.
And you know, as you described it, you know, that your smaller self, your human self, was having emotions around it. Your higher self was like, yeah, it's cool. You know. So there's a process we can do, which some of you may be familiar with from other videos we've done, is the spiritually incorrect room. And it's just a made up space, but it's real. And it's called spiritually incorrect because you don't go in there and go, oh, you know, I understand that this is, you were injured as a child, and that's why you beat me when I was a child. No, this is like, get down to it and go, I hate you, Daddy, for what you did to me, or whatever it is. I mean, it's a free zone. And the reason it's free is that nothing escapes it. It's completely sealed off. So you don't have to worry about hurting anyone or creating any negative energy. I always imagine it as like the holodeck on Star Trek. If any of you have seen that, you go in there and then you ask the computer to create this simulated reality for you. And that's what you do. You go in and you create it. So since we're letting go of the old reality, sometimes what comes with that is rejecting it. It's like, oh my God, how did I ever like that color? You know, how did I ever think that that was a good idea? You know, we may have to forgive ourselves a little bit for being, we could say rather judgmentally, so stupid to have believed this crap for so long, right? And there are also others we need to forgive. Your loved ones who called you the crazy conspiracy theorist, and or refuse to visit you, you know, because you haven't been vaccinated. Any of those things. You might want to take some of those people in. You can also take in people from your past, like from your childhood. So you can take in your inner child and protect him or her and defend them against the harms that have happened to them. It's a really wonderful tool for inner child work. And there's also, we need to look at all the liars in the world, right? The news people, the actors and the famous people and all of that who've been gotten rich and famous, but sold their souls to the devil, so to speak. We have to understand that those people all, not all, but a majority of them were probably raised in it. Were probably raised in families, were abused from childhood. And think of Britney Spears. She's trying to break free from her control, her family. And she's doing a really good job and doing it publicly so people can see this is what it's really like. And I think a lot of those people who probably faked their deaths, Robin Williams, maybe, and a bunch of other actors and people, athletes, maybe even famous people who appear to have died in the last 5 years or so, probably are going to be at some point coming out and going, yeah, no, we faked their deaths and this is what's really going on in the industry, and bringing the truth out. So that's going to be difficult for a lot of people. So, bringing those people in, and any doctors, the bankers, the government, the politicians, you want to go all the way up to the top. You want to go to the reptilian alien bastards who programmed us to do this. All this stuff can go. You can just bring whoever you have any residual judgment or blame or anything like that toward. And then you bring them into the room. So maybe this is good, close your eyes and imagine all these people in the room. And you can bring in organizations, you can bring in a building to represent the banks or the education system or whatever. And then seal it off. Computer, seal this room. And then let yourself really feel it. Those people, that family member who shunned you, called you names. Those, let's just say, we're in the spiritually incorrect room. Those idiots walking around with 2 and 3 masks on and goggles and gloves and stuff like that, and who believe all this insane nonsense. The vast majority of what we call muggles out there, all programmed. It's let yourself feel that. And if you have any childhood stuff, it actually can be very helpful for people to bring your inner child in, because that allows you to be the adult that protects the inner child. Because ultimately, when somebody you love insults your character or hurts you like that, who does it hurt? It hurts your inner child. That's who really takes the wounding, feels the wounding, the pain. So protect your child. All of those things that are there, let yourself feel it. You can recruit a bear, a dragon. You can bring in a baseball bat, a flamethrower, whatever you want. What you've brought in here are representations. You're not bringing in the actual people, so you don't hurt anyone and nothing goes out. But doggone it, let yourself feel. And if what you're feeling is anger, move it. Do action. Move your physical body. That moves the anger through you. Growl. Make silly noises. Mm-hmm. If what you're feeling is sadness and pain, invite somebody to come, your angels to come and help support you through that. You've got you holding your inner child, and then you've got your greater self, maybe, holding you. This is a safe place. It's been a long, rough ride, and I'm not talking about just this last year and a half. This lifetime, this last bunch of lifetimes, maybe all these incarnations here. You might want to count those all in. Anything in there that's still residual hanging out, bring it in and let's get rid of it. Be big. Let yourself grow and watch these evildoers, the bad guys, watch them shrink till they're so tiny. You just sweep them with the broom. Computer, delete all these entities, all these energies that have been making you angry or making you sad or making you feel weak or scared, all those things. Delete, delete, delete. Now step out of the room. Notice how you feel. Whew. What I've noticed working with clients is especially people who have a hard time with anger, this is a challenge to get in there, especially the part where, make noise and like, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. It's like, it's okay, I'll make it for you then. Just
they're scared of getting out of control.
Yeah. And the moving the energy because, childhood, what do we get? We got taught.
Control yourself. Be quiet.
That's right. No, anger is bad. And we learn in a lot of hard ways from family members that anger has been bad on us, right? Mommy gets mad and we get hurt. So it's really a powerful tool. And most of the time people come out and all of a sudden they're like giggling and like, yeah, that was so easy. Why didn't I ever do that before? It feels so different.
But what's interesting is that in that room, as you start to shrink away the entities and the nastiness, even though you're saying it's completely secure, it probably has got a healing effect on the other person.
Well, anytime you shift you, the other shifts, right?
Yeah, because you're the center of the universe.
You're not bringing them there and deliberately working on them, but you're working on you, and that shifts everyone. That's a good point. That's forgiveness. You forgive them ultimately. Why do we forgive them? It's for us. But forgiveness is looking at somebody did something bad to you, and so you forgive them for it. And when we expand that out and thinking of the example of like Britney Spears, she didn't have a choice. None of these people, none of the entities, none of the organizations and the people behind them, they've all always tried to do the best they could in their environment. And the environment's the challenge. And it doesn't do any good to hate the old earth and, all the programming, because of course that just gives it energy too.
Yeah, but strengthens it.
Yep. To take that one step up, think of the triangle. Here's one polarity with the other polarity, rise above. We all chose to be here now. And the people who are watching this, I know specifically, you got handpicked because you're powerful, amazing souls that can hold a frequency and be here and survive and not be destroyed by this reality, not be programmed. Yeah. So give yourself a little, pat on the back.
Yeah.
And as we go forward, however it plays out, I think having this process done will help you to relate with people and with the shifts that are going on.
Yeah, I think so. As you get stronger within yourself, then you can get to that point of forgiveness much quicker, so that, when somebody throws something at you, and verbally, probably, not likely, sledgehammer or something, and called you a name or something like that you can very quickly turn it around, rather than no, and then you go home and then you go through the spiritually incorrect room, because the more you do that, then the more you can process it much quicker on the spot.
Instantly.
You can look at that person, you can go, I can see the fear in your eyes. You're yelling at me because you're scared. And it's not necessarily scared of what's in the media, that they might be scared because they are feeling insecure, that they just don't believe that they have God on their side, you might say. We want to get down to the real basics. They don't think that they are talented enough, that they're good looking enough, that they're capable of getting those movies, right? That they thought they needed to sell their soul because they didn't actually think they were good enough actor to get the job any other way, right? So they cheated, and then of course you can never quite forgive yourself, because that you probably wouldn't have got that job otherwise, and so then you're beating yourself up forever that you're famous and you don't deserve it. And can you imagine how what a nightmare that would be? But on the smaller scale of the people that we meet, ourselves and we work with, and they're our neighbors and our friends and our family, it comes down to that insecurity again of not knowing, not having enough strength behind themselves. And you can grow it within them with your own mind, open up the potential for them and say, that's the funniest thing, that's the thing they just never expect. If someone throws an insult at you and you run through that process really quickly, you go, oh, I see why they threw that insult at me, was because they don't actually feel capable enough in their work. And then if you just quietly drop in there something like that, right, can you see how opposite that would be to what they were expecting? They wanted to have control over you by bashing you down, and then instead of either punching back, which is a fight, which is some attention, which is great, or cowering in the corner, which means I'm in control, that person turns around and says, actually, you're doing a really good job, just hang in there. It's just they do not expect it, and their guard is down, and they change instantly. It's or they look very puzzled, and then they treat you better the next time they see you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, working as a counselor, that sometimes, just sometimes, people will project onto you. They'll get mad at you and da da da. And it's like, I hate to tell you this, but da da da, and that didn't really work. And I'm like, oh, like, oh, you're not upset? No. Let's just talk about how that didn't work for you. Let's figure out something else. Once you've done this and you've cleared out your own emotional storage of shame and worthlessness and whatever, figure all that stuff, then you can't be manipulated. I mean, it's so powerful.
Yeah, that's right. And if there's no separation between us, then one by one, as each of us does our own work, we do help the collective. We do bring strength to them. And that tipping point is so close. It really is. The pressure that's on us in Australia at the moment is going to draw people together. The truckies at the moment are planning a huge stalling operation on the 31st of August, where they I don't think they're actually allowed to block the borders, but they can park up and not deliver. That's not against the law. And then the place will come to a standstill. And so people are seeing them as the great heroes, and the bikies are going to join in, so they're going to do their great big ride through, like they did in, was it Brazil? It had that enormous, like 1 million motorbike riders or something enormous.
I think it was Brazil.
Was it Brazil? And just all the bikies are coming out. Then they've said, everybody that's on foot, go to your local governments and your councils and stand silent. So it's more Gandhi style. They tried their fierce protests, was it last weekend, and loads of people got arrested. So we'll try something different this time, do it Gandhi style. So,
nice.
Yeah, not far away.
And then they'll put on music, and then everybody will start dancing. They'll be doing it Gangnam style,
doing London.
Remember that stupid dance? Oh my god. and not a giggle.
Yeah. So I think it's bringing strength to lots of people. We'll get there. We'll get there. Sooner rather than later, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That's
it. Enjoy yourselves, and feel free to comment below, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.